On God, it seems a bit different to the other songs in the album because it seems like one constant stream of consciousness. I'm going to pull out a couple bits because Kanye says quite a lot in there and quite a lot of it flows over my head. What do we got here? His light shine brightest in the dark. What does Kanye know about the dark? What does he know about rough times?
Yeah, Kanye had a very close relationship with his mother. I think she was probably his best friend. She was the first person that ever believed in him, so starting out he found it really tough. A lot of people didn't want to give him a record deal because they just saw him as a hip-hop producer and not as someone who actually had any rapping ability. So his mother died in 2007 from surgery that he paid for her to get, so he felt really guilty for that, and that's kind of when... I like to think of Kanye in 4 different stages. You have Happy Kanye, which is covers the first trilogy. The original trilogy of albums he did, College Dropout, Late Registration and Graduation. Then you have Angry Kanye, or Sad Kanye, which is 808s and Heartbreak, which becomes Angry Kanye, which is Dark Twisted Fantasy, Yeezus, Life of Pablo, and then Trump Kanye, which is Yay. And then you have Christian Kanye, which is this.
Can I just ask, do you think he's happier now?
I think he's actually happy now, because he started smiling a lot last year, but you can see there was something there that wasn't... it wasn't genuine. It was like he was forcing himself to be happy. He was looking for something, and so I think he attached to this idea of free thought and I guess getting involved in politics to bring him some sense of peace and fulfillment. But now when you look at him, you can see that there is a sense of peace that wasn't there before.
Contentment, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, got another one. That's on Keith.
Oh, he's just some rapper.
Keith.
Yeah, just some dude.
I can't be out here dancing with the stars.
Actually, I want to go back to All My Brothers Locked Up in the Yard. You can still be anything you want to be. Kanye has recently spoken about how he wants to employ former convicts as in his factories for his Yeezy clothing line. So he's bought a bunch of land in Wyoming, and so he's actually talked about giving people a second chance. So I thought that was really cool they referenced that. Also, in 03, they told me not to drive. I think it was 03, Kanye had a really bad car accident where his jaw was broken, had to be wide shut, and I'm pretty sure that's the first single he released was Through the Wire, where he was rapping while his jaw was wide shut. Great song, check it out. But he also claims that God saved him in that accident. That's what started, I think, his initial flirtation with Christianity. It was him surviving that car accident. He didn't have a seatbelt on or anything, and it probably would have, it should have killed him, but it didn't. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I think that's really interesting they brought that up.
Okay. David, you got anything on that one?
Yeah. So I love this one again when I see biblical themes that excites me. So what's the question he says? People ask him, why have you got so much favour on your side? And he opens up, just giving the whole game away. He says, accept Jesus as your Lord and Saviour. He says, but then he goes on, and the whole song's about the fact that it's ultimately God that always gives everything. And so even, I think one of the important lines is the greatest artist resting or alive. That's on L.A. Reid, that's on Clive. I actually don't know who he's talking about, it doesn't matter, because he says that's no jive, that's on God. So even where he goes, the greatest music comes from these guys, but they get it from God as well. Now I think that's actually quite profound, isn't it? Because Kanye was the kind of guy who you would have said was up to that point was a self-made man, would have seen himself as a self-made man. And self-made men tend to worship their creator themselves. But now he's actually going, no, someone else has made me, and actually has made everything else that's going on. So you want to know why I've got so much favour, you want to know why things have got, it seems like they've gone well for me. Ultimately, I got nothing here. It's all with God. A very biblical thing, yeah.
He also says, what if Eve made apple juice? You gonna do what Adam do, or say, baby, let's put this back on the tree? This is imagery of the Garden of Eden, but what's he doing?
Yeah, in everything we need. So as we go on to the next song. It's a great little image. It's interesting, having just said, that's on God, he then moves to the idea that, well, if God is the giver of good things, what is he given? Well, actually, he says he's given us everything we need, and he takes us right back to that primitive, that original Bible story right at the start, Genesis 2 and Genesis 3. God puts the man and the woman, they're called Adam and eventually Eve, puts them in this garden, gives them everything they want to eat and have and do, except for one fruit, which traditionally has become an apple. And of course, in the story, Eve is duped into taking the fruit. So she picks it and she gives it to him who's there with her, and he eats it. And that's the moment where it just all crashes down, and they've decided for themselves what they want to do rather than just listening to God, who's the giver of all good things. And so here he's evoking that, and he's saying, so what does it matter? What if Eve Eve made apple juice. I love it. Like she took the apple and put it in a blender. He's putting a challenge out. You're going to do what Adam did, or say, baby, let's put this back on the tree. Which is kind of nice, isn't it? Because in one sense, once an apple's picked, you can't put it back on the tree. And so there's that truth there anyway. But in another sense, he's saying we each have a choice every day with what to do with the good things that God gives us, and also to decide for ourselves that we're going to ultimately try and sort things out for ourselves. Because that's what's going on in the Adam and Eve story. And so he's actually challenging every listener, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about this? Are you going to live in a world where you recognise every good thing that God gives you, or are you going to try and run your own show? Because that doesn't work so well.
Okay, final comments on that before we move on?
This song was originally meant to be on Yandi, so this was one of the leaked tracks. And it originally featured a verse from a deceased rapper called XXXTentacion, who was a bit of a messed up guy. He had some stuff going on and had some really disturbing domestic violence allegations against him. The original version of that track is actually quite explicit. So it's interesting seeing how Kanye's reworked it to sort of fit this new, fit this whole Christian album he's made, right? You know, he's left swearing behind. This album has no swearing on it. I think second Kanye album to not have any explicit language. The first being 808s and Heartbreak. So it's really fascinating seeing him taking sort of something that was originally had a different meaning and then reworking it to have, a Christian meaning. And we'll see that later on with another track, the change is a lot more apparent. But I just thought that was really cool.
Great. We're going to move on to water, and God is